People love to say, if things go bad, I'm heading to the middle of nowhere. Northern Nevada sounds like the perfect version of that sentence. Huge open land, fewer people, long distances between towns, and a landscape that looks like it can swallow you up. And it can. But that's the first reality check. Northern Nevada doesn't just hide you from other people. It also hides you from water, help, and second chances. So yes, escaping to Northern Nevada in a real SHTF situation is physically possible. But it's not automatically smart, and it's definitely not forgiving. If you show up without a plan, you're not bugging out. You're volunteering to get tested by wind, cold, dehydration, and distance. Let's start with the big picture. The reason so much of Nevada is empty is the same reason it's dangerous. Water is scarce and the land is a high desert. That combination is brutal if you don't already have verified sources and a realistic way to live. So if your plan is, we'll find a spring, you're already behind. Springs can be seasonal. They can be dry when you need them most. Some are unreliable year to year. And even when you find water, it can still make you sick if you treat it like it's automatically safe. In the high desert, water isn't a nice to have. It's the boss of your whole plan. Here's a simple rule. If you don't have a verified year-round water source, you don't have a long-term bug-out plan. You have a short-term camping trip that can turn into a medical emergency. And verified doesn't mean you saw it once on a map. It means you've personally confirmed it. You know how it behaves in different seasons. And you have a backup in case it fails. If you want to survive out there, you need a water plan with layers. First layer is what you can carry. Second layer is what you can reliably access. Third layer is how you treat it. Carrying water sounds boring until you're out there with cracked lips and that weird fuzzy headache that makes you start making stupid choices. Even mild dehydration changes how you think. Then, access. You want something you can count on, not something you hope exists. Springs, deep wells, established water points, things that don't disappear just because it's been a dry year. Then treatment, filter and purify every time. You don't want stomach issues out there. Getting sick in the desert is like getting robbed by your own body. Now the second big reality check is the climate. People hear desert and think hot. Northern Nevada is high desert. That means you can get intense summer heat, strong sun, and dry wind that sucks moisture out of you. And then you can get nights that drop fast and punch you in the face with cold. Winters can be severe and storms can trap you or make movement dangerous. So you're not just prepping for heat, you're prepping for temperature swings. You're prepping for wind, you're prepping for cold nights that show up when you didn't expect them. And the mistake people make is thinking they can wing it with a light jacket and we'll just make a fire. Fire is not guaranteed out there. Wind can make it miserable. Regulations can matter. Fuel can be scarce depending on where you are. And in a crisis, a visible fire can also be a signal. So if you're serious, your warmth plan is shelter and insulation first. A fire is a bonus, not the foundation. Now let's talk about the part everyone argues about. Bugging in versus bugging out. A lot of survival folks will tell you the safest default is to stay home unless your location becomes unlivable or indefensible. That's not cowardice, that's math. At home, you already know where water is. You already know where shelter is. You already know your routes, your neighbors, your storage, your gear. The moment you go mobile, you trade familiarity for uncertainty. You expose yourself to the road, to breakdowns, to crowds, to fuel shortages, to bad timing. So, head to Nevada should never be your first emotional reaction. It should be your plan B or plan C when staying put stops being safe. If your area is on fire, or you're in a mandatory evacuation, or the risk around you becomes impossible to manage, then yes, relocation becomes real. But you want to relocate with a destination you already understand, not just a direction. Now let's talk about land, because Nevada has a ton of public land, and that's part of the appeal. A lot of northern Nevada is Bureau of Land Management land. That can give you options. But it also has rules in normal times, and those rules matter if you're planning ahead. Dispersed camping is generally limited to 14 days within a 28-day period, and in Nevada, the BLM guidance says you typically have to move at least 25 miles after you hit that limit. Now, in a full collapse, enforcement might look different, but don't build your plan on rules won't matter. That's a bad habit. A better habit is planning legally and realistically now, so you can scout, practice, and get competent without gambling your life. Also, Living off the land in the desert is not a beginner skill. It's hard, it's slow, and if a lot of people flood into rural areas with the same idea, local resources get hammered fast. So the desert doesn't automatically feed you, it tests you. Now let's hit the defensible terrain idea because people love to talk about box canyons. Yes, terrain can help you control approach routes. A narrow access point can reduce the angles you have to worry about. But here's the problem. That same box canyon can trap you. If the primary exit gets blocked by weather, vehicles, people, fire, or even just bad luck, now you're stuck in your defensible spot with fewer options. So the survival rule is simple. Never choose a location with only one way out. In real life, mobility is your safety net, not the perfect hiding spot. That's why the smarter terrain choice is usually something that gives you concealment and multiple exit routes, not a dramatic dead end that looks cool on a forum. Now we get to the real heart of northern Nevada, isolation versus access. The farther you get from people, the farther you get from problems. But you also get farther from medical care, spare parts, supply chains, and assistance. That matters because a lot of survival isn't about epic threats. It's about normal problems happening at the worst time. A cut that gets infected, a twisted ankle, a vehicle breakdown, a tooth problem, a dehydration headache that turns into something worse.
So when you choose remote, you have to bring more capability with you, or you accept a higher risk of small problems becoming big problems. And this is where community shows up. A lot of people fantasize about total isolation, like it's the purest form of survival. In reality, long-term survival tends to work better with a local support network. A small circle of people who can trade skills, share labor, solve problems, and rotate tasks. Even in remote areas, being completely alone can be fragile. You can't watch everything, fix everything, and handle every emergency without eventually getting worn down. So if Northern Nevada is part of your plan, think community before you think lone wolf. Not a giant group, not a loud militia vibe, just a small, trusted network that makes life more stable. Now let's talk about one more legal detail people forget. If you're traveling through Nevada in normal conditions and using rest areas, Nevada law allows parking up to a maximum of 18 hours in a 2-week period. Again, in a total collapse, enforcement might not look the same. But that's not the point. The point is, you don't want your escape plan to be sleeping in rest stops and bouncing between obvious public areas. Those places concentrate people. They concentrate tension. They concentrate risk. So if you're thinking about movement, think in terms of actual destinations and actual timelines, not, we'll just wing it on the road. Now, what does a smart Northern Nevada plan look like? It starts with pre-planning, because Northern Nevada punishes improvisation. Here's the order I'd think in. First, define your trigger. What has to happen for you to leave your current home? Make it specific. If X happens, we go. If you don't define it, you'll leave too late or leave too early. Second, define your destination type, not just a dot on a map. Do you need access to water? Yes. Do you need tree cover or shelter options? Probably. Do you need to avoid choke points and main routes? Yes. Do you need at least 2 exit routes? Yes. Third, scout now. If you can't scout, you can't trust it. And if you can't trust it, you're gambling. Fourth, plan for the boring killers. Water, sun, wind, cold nights, fuel, breakdowns, injury. If your plan only addresses people threats, it's incomplete. Finally, make the plan realistic for your actual life. If you have kids, elderly family, medical needs, or limited mobility, then remote needs to be adjusted. The goal is survival, not proving something. So here's the honest truth. Northern Nevada can be a strong option for certain people in certain scenarios, if they've pre-planned, verified water, and built a realistic shelter and mobility plan. But the myth version, we'll just head out to the desert and be free, gets people hurt, because isolation isn't the same thing as safety, and distance isn't the same thing as security. The land doesn't care that you're trying your best. So if this is your idea, do the work now. Verify your water sources. Practice your gear in wind and cold, not just on a sunny weekend. Know your routes. Have backups. And if you can build a small local network, That might do more for your long-term survival than any single perfect bug-out spot. Because in a real SHTF scenario, you don't win by having the coolest destination. You win by having the calmest plan that still works when conditions aren't friendly.